All right, so welcome everybody. My name is Jan Lehman. I'm the owner of CTC Productivity. And with me is my wonderful colleague, Nancy Krushke. Nancy's a Microsoft 365 expert, and we're super happy you're here. I'm trying to advance, there we go. So we have been doing over the last couple months a webinar series on how to maintain productivity in a virtual world, and specifically talking about the Microsoft 365 suite of tools. And we've been doing a number of sessions. If you are interested in some of the past ones, you can go out to ctcproductivity.com, the events page, and you can look at all the recordings from the past ones. You can also register for any that are upcoming. And so what we have coming next, we've decided to, we've been doing kind of a higher level and then deeper dive on some of the apps. And next month, we decided to do an entire Q&A session to ask people have an opportunity to ask any questions about any of the Microsoft 365 apps, their rollouts, the challenges that you're having. And then we'll come back for another deep dive in November on SharePoint. So that is our plan. We're sharing a statistic we always share because it's one of our favorites, and it comes from the Wall Street Journal. And the Wall Street Journal is saying that office workers are wasting almost half their workday because they weren't taught organizing skills to deal with the demands of this day and age that we live in. And this just relates to everything that Nancy and I do. So, and it's especially related to the 365 tool set around organizing your data, organizing your workflow, your tasks, your priorities, all those fabulous things. So we're super excited you're here to take advantage of this huge opportunity for improvement. We also love sharing this slide, which is about the fact that most companies barely scratch the surface of leveraging their technology. And with Microsoft 365, we're going to guess this percentage is even smaller, but just in general, companies barely scratch the surface of leveraging technology. So something like email has been around for 25 plus years, and we're still training companies on the bells and whistles that most everybody should know about. So again, good for you to be here earlier on to learn about 365 so you can take advantage of the functionality sooner than later. All right, Nancy, you want to take us on our little OneNote journey?
Okay. Well, Jan, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with our group of people here today. And this slide here just talks about Microsoft 365 plans. They include so much more than what we think of as Office apps, right? The Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint. And today specifically, we're going to be focusing on OneNote, which is one of my favorite apps. And specifically on OneNote 2016 for Windows 10. So you might be asking yourself, all right, so what is this OneNote and why might I want to use it? I'm going to start with why you might want to use it first. If you're currently taking notes during meetings in a notebook, or maybe you write your to-do list on a piece of paper, how quickly can you find that note that you know you took? And how often do you rewrite your to-do list? So if you find it frustrating and time intensive to access the information, or you feel like you spend more time rewriting your to-do list than working on your to-dos, then OneNote just might be the answer for you. So what is OneNote? OneNote is essentially a digital notebook. So if you think of the traditional notebook or binder, right, that you put on the shelf and it had, here's the resource manual, the reference manual, and you have the binder with the tabs and all the pages underneath of it. That is exactly what OneNote is in a digital format. And it allows you to easily capture information such as project ideas, travel plans, decisions that you've made or that your team might have made, meeting notes. And there's really no boundaries to what you can capture in OneNote. So let's take a look at how OneNote is organized in those notebooks like that binder on your shelf.
Hey, Nancy, can I interrupt really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if I said or not. So as we go through, we're going to try to go through the content within the first half hour. And if you have specific questions, if things are popping up in your head, if you could enter it into the chat, that'd be fabulous. And then after Nancy gets through the content, we'll circle back kind of for optional Q&A for those people that want to stick around for that part. So sorry, Nancy.
That's okay. So let me back up in my script here and what I want to say. Let's start with how OneNote is organized and what it looks like in kind of comparison to that reference manual on your shelf. Kind of the first layer of organization is the notebook. And this image here is from the 2016 Windows 10 desktop app. And as you can see, here's my list of notebooks, and there's one notebook here called a training notebook, and then there's another different training notebook and a team's best practice. So that's the first, is your notebooks. And the one thing that's really nice about notebooks is that once you open them in the app, even on the web or the Windows 10 app or on your device, is that those notebooks are going to stay open. So it's nice, and what I really like about it is that unlike Word, right, you have a Word document and you open up, you work on it, you close it, and then you have to find it again. Once you've opened a notebook, if you're a member of multiples, they're going to stay there for you. Or if even you've created multiple notebooks yourself and they're only for you. So that's a nice feature. So that first layer is just the notebook itself. The second layer are the sections. And the sections in a notebook, think of those as those tabs in your binders. So you can see that there's several sections listed over here, and if I were to open those other notebooks, I would see sections. And one of the things that is different, and you're only going to see again in the 2016 desktop app, is that sections not only show under your notebook in the left-hand navigation pane, but they also show up here above your pages. So you get your tabs in two different places utilizing the 2016. The third layer then inside of your notebook, so we have our notebook, which is like the binder, and our sections, which are like our tabs, and now we have our pages. And the pages are just like all the pages that are underneath of your tabs inside of your binder. There is not a limit to how many sections or how many pages you can have in any of your notebooks. There's sort of a limit to the size of a notebook where it might start to get unstable, but it has to be pretty big and have a lot of stuff in it. I haven't run into that yet myself, and I have a lot of information in multiple notebooks, but it's just something to be aware of there. You might have noticed on the screen here, because there's so much more even in the organization and how do you set up your sections and, you know, kind of to think through as you're organizing your notebook, how do you want to do it? But there's also the ability to do sub-pages. And so if we look over here on the right-hand side under templates, you'll notice that meeting notes and new action and completed actions are indented. So those are sub-pages. And if we look over on the left where our sections are, we have two sections up here, standards, best practice, actions, and decisions. And then we have this one that says Project A, and you'll notice that the sections inside of there are indented. That's a section group. So even if you had 150 sections in a notebook, you can group them together and put like items together and create those section groups or those page subpages that are like page groups to help you put a lot more information in the notebook and in each section just by being able to group them together. So now that you know how notebooks are organized, let's take a look at adding information. First, let's talk about capturing text onto a page. One of the things too that I love about OneNote as opposed to Word is that I can go ahead and create what's called a container. Just click anywhere on a page and add the container, and that holds the information. If I click again on the page, it creates a new container, and I can type information there, and I can do another one and type information there. But unlike Word, I could actually grab this container and I could lay it on top of any of the other containers and the information that's there if that made sense to do that. Unlike Word, if you have text boxes and you try to move them around, they fight each other on the page and you're like, oh, come on, just go where I want you to. You don't have any worries here. You can just drag them around and put them where you want, and so that they can overlap. This is a picture of the insert menu, and I did pull in the pictures from the desktop 2016, the Windows 10 app, and the web app. Didn't put any Mac users or Mac window, or let's try it again, Mac menus in here, but they're very similar to what you see here. And you'll notice that the menus do look a little bit different of what you can insert. So you don't have the ability to insert everything in all of the different types or all of the different versions of OneNote. Let's go ahead and put images on a page, because many times when you're going ahead and you're adding information, you might want to add an image. And we actually have several clients that do a lot of work in construction, and they're out in the field, whether it's in a building or whether it is a railing they're putting outside of the building, or they're digging a hole to build a building. And they find this especially helpful to be able to put pictures right on a page and show everybody on their project team what is happening. So we go to the insert menu and we click on pictures. And in this case, because we're in OneNote already, we're going to go ahead, it's going to pop up the insert picture. We click on insert, and there it is, the image is on the page. And this is my little puppy dog as she's just chilling one day. You can also, if you are using this on your phone or your tablet and you're out and about in the field, like I was just saying, you don't have to go to insert picture. You can just go to the page, and you'll have the ability on your device to take a picture and insert it right on the page. So it's almost even easier when you're out in the field to add a picture to a page than it is when you're on your computer. The other really nice thing is Jan has a Surface Pro, and so she has the ability to go ahead and turn it into a tablet and write on it. OneNote automatically converts your handwriting to text. So if she was writing this on her Surface Pro, as soon as she wrote this on the screen, OneNote would automatically convert that into text. On a computer, I wrote this with my mouse, and when I go ahead and I come into the ink to text menu and highlight it, it then converts my chicken scratches into the words very nicely. But the integration with handwriting to text on tablets and devices is automatic, and you don't have to force it to turn your handwriting into text. It also makes it very, very searchable. Even in handwriting, even with the handwriting, OneNote does OCR, and so your handwriting is also searchable even if it doesn't automatically turn into text.
Even if you have absolutely horrible handwriting like me, it's shocking that it can recognize it.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The other thing on your devices too is that you can always do talk to text, and you can't, I mean, you can do it on your computer also. If you do talk to your computer and ask it to do things, you also have the ability to go ahead and do talk to text on any of your devices and even on your computers, your desktop computers. If your team happens to use whiteboards during meetings, you can easily use OneNote as your whiteboard. So right now, especially in this day and age where we're doing a lot of video, and if you would typically be in that team meeting and then go to the whiteboard and draw all over it and then maybe take a picture afterwards, you could just go ahead in the team meeting, in your Zoom meeting like we're having right now, you could open up a page in OneNote and you could draw all over it. So you could put flow charts in there or capture, whatever. It can be words, it can be images that you're drawing, it can be flow charts, anything onto the page just by going ahead and clicking on the Draw tab. And then you'll just want to select, in this case, this is the web version, you'll want to select the pen that you want to use, and you can also choose your different colors. So there's a lot of options. A nice feature too is this erase. So if you do type so or write something on there and you want to get rid of it, you can go ahead and erase it. There are several ways to include files into your OneNote notebooks. And the first way is to attach a file to OneNote. This is just like attaching a file to an email message. It will insert a copy of that document into OneNote. It now becomes part of that OneNote. But the biggest thing to remember is that this is a copy, and if you open the original and edit it, the copy that is attached to OneNote is not going to be updated. So just pay attention to that. If you do decide to attach a file, you may want to then delete it in its original location. because you can go in and double click on this Word document or Excel or PowerPoint and open it up and make whatever changes you want. As soon as you close and save it, the next time you would open that document, the changes will be reflected and everybody will be able to see it. One thing to know is that when you attach a file, only one person can edit at a time. So even though OneNote itself, which we're getting to, is shareable and you can collaborate and co-author, once you attach a file inside of OneNote, only one person can edit that file at a time. A second way to attach files is to insert the link. And this is especially helpful if you have that file stored in OneDrive or SharePoint and is shared with whoever else is sharing the notebook with you. As soon as they go in then and click on the link, everyone is opening the exact same file and the exact same document. And because it lives in a shared location, multiple people can be inside of that file at the same time and making edits and doing that co-authoring. And a third way to insert files into OneNote is a printout. One of the reasons you might want to do a printout is because this is a JPEG and it's not editable. So if you had some processes or procedures that you wanted inserted into your notebook and you wanted it to be searchable for you or anybody to find the information located in that printout, but not be able to easily edit that particular document, inserting the printout is the way to go. And so if it's 1 page or if it's 20 pages, you can choose when you're inserting the printout. Do you want that to show up on one OneNote page, or do you want that to show up on multiple OneNote pages? So if you had a 5-page document and you said multiple pages, you would end up with 5 pages, new pages in that section in your notebook. One of the biggest benefits of OneNote is the ability to collaborate with others. But as I mentioned just a little bit ago, the notebook must be stored in a location that allows sharing, and that is typically a cloud location such as OneDrive or SharePoint. If the notebook is stored on SharePoint, whoever has access to that SharePoint site already has access to the OneNote notebook, so you don't need to do anything else. If the file is stored on your personal or business OneDrive, then you do need to go ahead and share. And as you can see here, no matter what version of OneNote you're in, you have the ability to click the share button. And again, it's the same with Mac. You should see this big share button up here on the top, on the far right-hand side. And with the notebooks, you just right-click on with 2016 desktop, you right-click on your notebook and it'll pop up and you share this notebook. And there's going to be a couple additional windows that pop up once you click share, and they're pretty easy to navigate through. Just walk through those to share the notebook with however many people that you want. So that's the nice feature is, as I said, if you put it on a SharePoint site, everybody who belongs to that SharePoint site who's a member and has access, they already have access to the notebook. OneNote is really nice because you can see the co-authors. So you'll notice on this page here on the far right-hand side, there's a whole bunch of initials listed here. So the authors are going to show to the right of each of the containers. This is actually one big container, but inside of that container, different people have made edits. Where you see nothing, that means that I edited, and so my initials aren't going to show up. It's only going to show me the initials of somebody else on my team that made those edits. And if this was a live notebook, when you pop your mouse on top of those initials, it's going to pop out. It's going to show you who made the edits and the date and time that they made the edits. If you're in your notebook and you're not seeing the authors, you do need to go to the History tab. And the History tab is where you're going to be able to see Hide Authors. And this is a toggle on and a toggle off. So if I click it right now, when they're showing, it's going to hide them. And when I click it again, if they're hidden, it's going to show them. So that's a nice feature too, to know who has been making edits to the notebook. There's also version control, which is really nice. Wasn't showing that today, but I thought I would mention it, especially when you're co-authoring. If you put something in there and you go back and you're like, where's my beautiful words that I put in there? You can look at previous versions and you can either restore to a previous version, or you can just copy the sentence or paragraph or image or whatever got accidentally deleted and put it in the newest page. Microsoft has included several integrations with Outlook already into OneNote, so it's very, very simple. But not all of these integrations are available in other versions of OneNote. So for instance, the Outlook tasks. If you use Outlook tasks, you can easily add an item on any of your pages as an Outlook task. And this is one of the options that is only available in the Windows 2016 OneNote version. Pretty easy to do, just be on your Home tab. You'll click Outlook Tasks, and if you're using Outlook Tasks, this pops up, these flags that looks familiar to you. You just choose or go ahead and customize, whichever you want to do. And inside of OneNote, it's going to put a flag in front of whatever that line item or that item inside of OneNote that you said, hey, add this to my Outlook task list. In Outlook, when you go to your task list, your to-do list, you're going to see, here it is, look into a new coffee vendor. And if I opened that task on my task list, I would see a link back to OneNote. Those two tasks are linked together. If I were to mark the task complete in OneNote, it would mark the task complete in Outlook and vice versa. So it's a really nice integration, especially if you're already using Outlook tasks. The next Outlook integration is meeting details. This is one of my favorite features inside of here. So there's no reason to create a new page and then go over to the Outlook meeting notice and copy, okay, what was the agenda? You don't have to do any of that. It's already built in. Again, we go to the Home tab. Next to the Outlook task, you'll find meeting details. And when you click on that, it's going to show you all the meetings that you have set up for today. If it is not a meeting for today that you wanted to add to your page, you can click choose a meeting from another day, and it'll give you your full calendar and you can find whatever date you're looking for. Once you click that, it's going to go ahead and it's going to insert the meeting details onto the page. Everything we see here, this is the subject that is on my Outlook calendar, the date and time, the location, and there's even a link back to what's in Outlook. If I expand the invitation message, so if that had the agenda in it, that would show me the agenda. And another nice feature is that it pulls everybody that was invited to that meeting and gives you check boxes so that you can check off who showed up for the meeting. And you're ready to go ahead. You have your agenda and a space for notes, and you're ready to go. You can also email a page. So if you don't need to share information in your notebook, or if you do need to share information in your personal notebook with somebody, you can email them a page. Click on the email page, which is in your home menu. And what it does is whatever was on that particular page you were on is now becomes the body of the email message. So I recommend that you only email a page if maybe you took notes in your personal notebook and you want to share those with somebody. But if the meeting minutes in this case were in a shared notebook that lives on SharePoint, I wouldn't email members of the team because now they have it in the OneNote notebook on SharePoint, and now they have an email and they have to manage the information twice. So if you're sharing a notebook, everybody hopefully knows where to go and get the information. But if you have something in a personal notebook that you need to share, go ahead and email the page. Now, not only can you email a page from OneNote to Outlook, but let's say that you received information in Outlook, then you're saying, oh, this should be in XYZ notebook in this section. So you can easily go to that message, and up in the menu, you'll see OneNote. You can also right click on it and you'll get a drop down that says OneNote as well. When we go ahead and click on that, it opens up and says, hey, which notebook that you have open do you want to send it to? And you do need to pick a notebook and a section and then click OK. That takes that email message and creates a new page in that section. And as you'll notice, the subject of the email message becomes the name of the page. And then the whole rest of the body of that email is embedded on this page. Now, again, is the best practice so you don't have to manage information and go, oh, is that going to be in my email or is that going to be in OneNote? If you've decided to use OneNote to share or to hold that information, then go ahead and delete that email message and just keep the information over in OneNote. Then you don't have to worry about it. So as I mentioned at the beginning, OneNote is one of my favorite apps to capture, share, and easily access information. Project ideas, travel plans, decisions that you've made, or meeting notes. So we hope that you're excited to start using OneNote or have discovered something new about OneNote. And remember, there really is no boundaries as to what you can add to a page. Back to you, Jan.
Nice, Nance. Thank you. So this was a lot of information. And please be aware that when we normally would do this training, we wouldn't just do a monologue like this, but because it's a free webinar, this is what you get. But there's so much integration, there's so much complexity. Go back, listen to the recording a few times. That'll probably help you. You know, ideally when we do training, we would be doing hands-on. We'd have a lot of Q&A throughout. So I'm sure you're feeling a bit overwhelmed now. And know that Nancy, again, has barely scratched the surface of the functionality within OneNote by itself and the integrations that's possible, and especially as you look to include OneNote into the whole Teams environment, there's a world of opportunities. So,
right. I only focused on the Outlook integrations that are built into OneNote, but OneNote and Teams integrate very smoothly. And if you're already using Teams in your company, hopefully you're experiencing that. But that integration out our OneNote into Teams environment is very smooth.
Awesome. Great. Okay. So again, the recordings, if you want to catch up on, you want this recording, it'll be out in a couple days, or some of the prior sessions, you can go out to the ctcproductivity.com events page. If you want to register for some of our upcoming sessions, they're not yet on the website, but Nancy, if you'll enter the link. So October 13th, we're doing these webinars about once a month. So in October, we're going to do a wide open Q&A. Any questions you have, you're mid rollout on 365 and you're running into issues, anything is open game around Microsoft 365. We're happy to help you be successful with that. And then in November, we're going to do a deep dive on SharePoint. So that's the plan. And again, if you guys have a particular app you'd love to know more about, please write that into chat and we can add it to the webinar series. So we're going to wrap up and head over to Q&A, so you can start entering questions in there, but I just want to do a couple quick slides before people start logging off. We've gotten a lot of comments that people think all we do is Microsoft 365. So I want to make sure you realize there's more to CTC productivity. So definitely we do a ton of consulting and helping companies optimize and fully leverage 365 for sure. We also do a lot of process improvement work. So think of Lean Six Sigma type work around any workflow within an organization. And then we have a whole area where we do coaching, training, and speaking on other productivity topics, time management, email, all the ones listed here. So anyway, there's a little bit more to us than just 365, but 365 is definitely the hot topic right now with the virtual world. So, all right, so let's go into Q&A. And there were a couple questions, Nance, did you see those come in?
I did.
Go ahead and start answering those.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull over.
And you guys are welcome to, if you'd prefer to just ask your question, you're welcome to unmute yourself when there's a break in the action.
I'm going to pull over OneNote into the screen. So is everybody seeing, Jan, are you seeing my OneNote?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I don't have a red bar around it. It disappeared for some reason. So one of the first questions is the difference between the to-do tag and the Outlook task tag. So where you're talking about, and let me see, let me do annotate here. I should be able to now draw. Where she's looking is right here. Okay, see, I told you I'm not very good at drawing with my mouse. So we have a multiple of different tags, and I didn't go into the tags and how helpful they can be. But this to-do tag here, okay, is annotate a tag on and off. If I were to click the to-do tag, what it does is it goes ahead and it puts a checkbox in front of that. So if I have, so let me go in here, I had pulled this in, and if I want to go ahead and say, oh, that's a to-do item for me, and this is a to-do item for me, I can go add those little to-dos and then check it off. So that is one way that you can use it. Those stay inside of OneNote though, and that to-do tag has nothing to do with Outlook. So if you are actively using Outlook tasks, or a few weeks ago we did the to-do app, because Outlook tasks will also feed in the to-do app, and you'll be able to see any items in OneNote that you add it to your Outlook task list on your to-do app. So that's the biggest difference between the two of them. And then there was a question that said, okay, so any tips on creating a to-do list within OneNote? When we put these check marks, so if we do use this to-do notice or the to-do tag, or any of the other tags in here, and so I'll just click a whole bunch of things, then I'll add some of the other tags. And if I drop this down, you can see that there is quite a laundry list of tags in here that you can add to items in OneNote. Right here, and this again functions very different in the OneNote 2016 Windows 10 desktop app than it does in any of the other ones, is the find tags. And so I have narrowed my search so that it is just searching this page group, which means all of these pages right here, and it's not searching any broader than that. But I could change it so that it does this whole notebook and any tags that are listed anywhere in this notebook. And it groups them together right now by tag name. So if I collapse these, I can see here's the 3 to-dos that I added. Here's the ones I marked important. Here's one that I added a question mark to. And when I click on, let me click off this page. So when I click on capture, it's going to jump me to the page where I added that tag. So let's see, there were a few in attendance. So let's click on this one right here. And you'll see that it jumps me right to those pages as soon as I click on them. So I don't have to go, what is that talking about? OneNote has that interaction and that linking between this. There is an option over here that says create a summary page. So I'm going to go back into my OneNote section and create the summary page in here. And this is nice. So if you just have the to-do, you'll notice that if I have them expand it, that they all show. So if I had any one of these collapsed, let me go ahead and delete this, delete, and I'm gonna collapse those two, and I'm gonna create a summary page. It's only gonna put on the summary page the tag names that you have expanded. You'll wanna make sure though, if you're using this, so you like that printout or you like it electronically and you're checking items off, is that before you create a new summary page and refresh your results so that this shows all your new tags that you've added, that you delete this summary page. Because if I create a new summary, if I refresh my results right now, you'll notice that it duplicates and triplicates each of those items that are listed there, because that summary page is part of my notebook. So if that didn't answer your question, if it did, you can unmute yourself and say, yay, yes. If you still have more questions and I didn't answer it enough, go ahead and, again, unmute yourself or type your question into the box. So what, Jan, what was the next ones? Those were the 2 or 3 that I read right off the beginning.
I think, well, so Sheila is saying, is there an upcoming offering on integrating OneNote and Teams? We'll add that to the list of possible webinars that we do. So thank you for that. And then Stuart is asking, how do you toggle between the different versions, 2016 web and Windows 10? And I think that's more, I think you were showing the 3 different versions depending on which version you're on. There's not really a toggling between them. as much as everybody on the call might be on a different version.
Right. So if you have a Windows 10 computer, it came preloaded with the Windows 10 app, not OneNote 2016 that comes with your Microsoft 365 subscription. And if for some reason, when you go to search your computer for OneNote, it only pops up the Windows 10 app, you can go out to Microsoft's website or even do just a Google search or a Bing search or whatever your favorite search engine is, and you can search for OneNote 2016. Microsoft still allows or has a spot out there that you can download that onto your computer. There was a point about 6 months ago that Microsoft was going to stop supporting the OneNote 2016 version, and they took it out of Microsoft 365 automatically installed programs. But people threw their arms up and said, no, you can't take it away from us. There's too many things in it that the others don't have. And so they are now supporting it, and they're going to be putting it on the top of their radar for updates. So it's going to be even more vibrant, hopefully. So I don't know, Stuart, if that, you know, helps or.
Yeah. Hi, Nancy. This is Stuart. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome job. Thanks for sharing all the information you shared today. Quick question. If it sounds like you're recommending 2016, might be a little bit more robust interface and more user-friendly and more options. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So if I am currently on my default Win 10 freebie that's built into the platform, how do I migrate everything over to 2016, or are they separate? Is there any way, because using one over the other, if I now download the 2016, will it migrate automatically, or do I have to repopulate everything from scratch?
They are separate. So you will need to go into File, and you will need to go into Open, and you're going to need to find your OneNote notebooks. The only reason I have a bunch listed here is because I've had them open, right? But if I were in where did it go? It hid on me. Come on, come to the front. Oh, I can't get it over there. I have too many things. I need a third monitor. If I switch and I open my OneNote that is the Win 10, and I had never opened a notebook, it would be empty. I wouldn't see any of my notebooks in there. I have to open them up. Same with when you go to the web, it's going to save your recent ones out there. So, you know, you're going to have to open them up before it's going to say, hey, here's your recent notebooks you're in. And the same if you're on your device. I need to, when I go on my device, I need to open a notebook first. I do believe, actually, I'm going to rephrase that. If I have them open in 2016 and I log into my Microsoft account on my device, it is going to show me all these same notebooks because it's the same account that I'm logged into. So there is some integration where you don't have to find your notebooks, but on any of your notebooks, if you right click on them and go to properties, it's going to tell you where they live.
So if again, to restate the question, if I were to have started on 2010 or the Windows 10 platform, right? And now I have lots of use because I've been using that for years and would like to migrate to the 2016, I have to start fresh.
No. You just need to open that notebook in the 2016 application.
Okay. And therefore that will also show up on other devices that sync with it?
Yes.
And it'll be automatic if I start using 2016 and open that notebook, that it will default, for example, on my Android phone or tablet?
I'm going to go with yes, but I just have to be honest. I set my device up so long ago that I just believe because I'm signed into the same Microsoft 365 account on my device as I am in my computer, what I see on my computer is what I see on my device. So I'm 98.6% positive that if you open a notebook here in 2016, you will also see it on your computer. You should, or excuse me, on your device. And you should see, even in Windows 10, I think you're going to see them on your device if you're logged into the same account.
Great. Okay. Thanks so much.
Nancy, I'm laughing. So one of our core company values is transparency. We don't ever want to pretend we know something we don't. That was a perfect example. 95% sure.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other?
Because I haven't done it myself in so long that I'm just not 100% sure.
So Nance, the next question is, what's your favorite to-do list app? I can actually, or do you mean, well, Nance, I'll let you go ahead and answer that one.
Well, go for it. What's your favorite to-do
Well,
list
I
app,
didn't
Jan?
know if she was qualifying within 365. So I do love Todoist. I think it's a great standalone to-do app. But but within the 365 environment, there's no question you want to use the to-do app that goes with 365. That integration is amazing, and it would be, yeah, it would be completely wasting the functionality if you weren't using it. So, but Cindy, if we misunderstood your question, can you unmute yourself and ask? So a lot of people like.
No, you had it right.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, a lot of people like Trello as a to-do app.
No, that was correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So I opened, and I think everyone can see, this is the Microsoft To Do. We did this webinar a few weeks ago, and I believe it's already out on the CTC website. So if you want to see how the Microsoft To Do app works and how it integrates, go and watch that webinar on Jan's website.
Good.
Anybody
Any more?
else?
Yeah.
So I like Gail saying, you know, the to-do, isn't there a to-do app to do? It's not confusing at all. You're absolutely right. Microsoft needs to think about their naming, because you see to-do and task in several places. We haven't even talked about planner, I don't think, and planner also, those are tasks and to-dos. And so all the terminology is integrated. So yes, there is some confusion. And then they decide that they want to go ahead and they want to rename things, which doesn't make it any easier. So, but they do have so many different options within the Microsoft 365 suite, because everybody has a preference of how they want to use things. So we have some clients that they use OneNote for their to-do lists, and that's it. They don't add them to Outlook. They don't use the Microsoft To-Do app. They don't use Planner. They only strictly use OneNote for their to-dos. And there's others that love the To-Do app and love that it's connected with Planner and it's connected with Outlook. And there's some people that go, who cares about the connections? I love the To-Do app as a standalone, and I don't look at it anyplace else but the To-Do app. So they give you those options so that you can pick for yourself personally and for your team which one of these apps is the best for us for what we're trying to do. And companies have found that for certain things, there might be one or two apps that work really well. But even though it's sort of similar stuff that they're managing, it doesn't fit well into those apps. And so they look at a different set of apps within the Microsoft 365 plan to solve those solutions. So it's good that they give us choices, but it is frustrating and overwhelming. We totally understand.
Yeah. Nancy, go ahead. There's one last question out there from Kristen. I'll let you read that one and I'll make a comment. So that's the fabulous thing about 365 is the robust integration and the customization, but that's also what makes it a very difficult tool for companies to roll out on their own quite often. So we always recommend coming in and piloting the technologies, figuring out how exactly your organization wants to use them, and then training the organization on that, because otherwise it's a million bells and whistles, a million different ways people may walk off using the technology, and it'll be more of a productivity hindrance than a productivity savings. So but we're just kind of showing you all the bells and whistles, but there's an appropriate way to go about training and rolling it out across a company.
So there's two questions here that I see. One is Mac. So 2011 Word for Mac, and use 365 for email and SharePoint. When she opened OneNote online, there isn't a lot of functionality, and you are correct. So if I were, and that's why I like to show 2016, because the functionality and the options in this ribbon are amazing. And there's even this add-on that we didn't get to that I absolutely love that extends the functionality. But when you do go to the web and you use OneNote on the web, this ribbon is not as robust. And it's like, oh, I want to do this. And so I was so happy. I was one of those people jumping up and down going, yes, they're going to continue support in 2016. And so, you know, that's a big difference between 2016 for a PC and the web version. Now, Jan has a Mac and she has the OneNote for whatever the download that she did for Microsoft 365, which I think it's either 2011 or it's one higher than that, might be 13 or 17 or something. And with a Mac, I can tell you right now, the functionality still is not the same as a PC. But the Mac version on your desktop, if you go with the desktop Mac version, is more robust than the web version, but not as robust as the PC web or the PC desktop app 2016. The good news is, because Microsoft has said we are going to continue to update and keep and support OneNote 2016 for the PC, they are working, and if you are using Teams, you will notice that no matter what device you're on, your experience is almost identical. So they are working on updating OneNote and making the experience, no matter if you're on the web, if you're on a Mac, if you're on a PC, if you're on a tablet or any type of phone, iPhone or Android phone, that experience is going to be identical, just like they've done for Teams. How soon that's going to happen, I can't tell you. And even if they said 6 months, I would say plan on 18. So, and right now they're not even given a time frame, I don't think, for any of that. So that hopefully answered your question there.
So I was just going to make a quick comment. So I think this meeting really technically only goes to 12:45. So if you're no longer interested in the Q&A, please, you won't insult us to log off. Feel free to do that, but we are happy to continue answering a few more questions.
There was another question about deleting, and I don't know if she has left or if she's still here, Faith.
Nancy, hold on one second. I think somebody was trying to talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to, this is Kristen again. We are thinking about getting the Microsoft 365, like updating our system. And if we did that, would we have a lot more functionality?
With OneNote, are you on PCs?
No, this is the Mac question again. Would if we updated but we did the subscription to 365, would OneNote have a lot more functionality for us?
No, because it's based on right now the device that you're on.
Oh, okay.
So okay. Unfortunately, no. So the one of the things that Microsoft, I don't know if anyone else watches the trends like we try to pay attention to, that Microsoft has allowed anybody in the world to actually have a free Microsoft account. And with that free account, you get Outlook Online, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote Online, and OneDrive, so a space to store cloud stored files. And with that, because that's the online version, and even then when it went to the Windows PC, when they rolled out or created Windows 10, they said, you know what, we're going to create this new app that is OneNote for Windows 10, and anybody that has a Windows 10 PC can have this account for free and sign up for it. And the reason that they do that, obviously, is, hey, if you get the free version, and we can then keep sending you and drip market you to say, hey, here's all the other things you can do. So the web version and the Windows 10 version, they're just not as robust because they're really kind of that starter program, I would think of it, where when you get to the 2016, you have that robust. And it's only for a PC. But like I said, cross your fingers, and hopefully in the next year, the Mac is going to be similar, and they'll even advance everything. Faith had a question, and she's been hanging on, so I appreciate it, Faith. She asked if she can delete a OneNote notebook. You absolutely can. If you're in 2016, you could easily go into here, What you'll see here is you're actually not going to see delete the notebook. You're going to see that you can close the notebook, okay? Because earlier, I remember I said once you open a notebook, it stays open. This notebook doesn't really live here, right? This is just a view of it. So I need to go, if I want to actually delete it, and I need to see where it lives. And I'm like, oh, this lives on my OneDrive location. I then need to go to that location, which is a web-based location, find that notebook, and then go ahead and delete it from there. So there's kind of a two-step process if you have opened it in 2016 or actually any of the apps, is that you need to close it here, but find out where it lives, and then go where it lives and delete it. If you delete it before you close it, you're going to constantly see that there's a sync error because there's no place to sync anymore because you deleted its primary location. So Faith, I hope that answered your question. And thank you for sticking around until I got to it.
All right, I think we're good. All right, so next month, again, we're gonna have open Q&A. So if you have more burning questions, just join us next month. And I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. So thanks for being here, everyone. The recording will be out on the website in a couple days. We won't automatically send it out. You need to go actually look for it out there, but you'll see all the other recordings as well. So you can catch up if you haven't been participating every month. So thank you.
Did Sheila leave?
Or did you have something else, Nancy?
She had another question, but I
Oh,
think
sorry,
Sheila
Sheila.
left.
Oh, the OneNote? Yeah.
So hopefully she'll reach back out to us with that question.
Perfect.
Because the question was, and it looks like everyone saw it, and so there's a few of you hanging around, so we'll go ahead and answer that one too. If Microsoft decides to stop OneNote or no longer support it, is there a way we can save a file and access it later? Well, I am assuming if they decide to completely throw it away, that there will be some way that it can be exported and then imported into a different file format. You can always back up these files and save them, but right now, think of it as I have an Excel file, and if I don't have the Excel program, it's kind of hard to open that Excel file because of the extension on it. It has to be opened in Excel. It's the same thing with OneNote. OneNote files, notebooks have an extension on them of a .1, and you need to have the program that opens that type of file extension. So let's hope that they never throw it out with the bathwater and they just keep making it better and better.
We don't have any reason to believe OneNote and the To-Do app are two of the, and the Teams environment as a total are some of the most heavily used and heavily praised pieces of technology. So it would be shocking if something were to happen to those. So.
Right, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Nance. Awesome job as always. Thanks, everyone. Please reach out to us if you have any other questions. We'd be happy to help. See you next month.